Hey, what's happening? Game One, SirJames coming at you guys with another video. In today's video, I'm here to provide you with my review on Doom VFR for the HTC Vive. Now, to kind of give you the concept of the storyline here is that this is set shortly after the demonic invasion of the UAC's Martian research facility, where you are known as the last human survivor until your death. Basically, under this top secret UAC operational contingency protocol, your consciousness was basically transported into an artificial brain matrix. Of course, by you being woken up with the facility under attack, your task is to restore the operational stability and of course by any means necessary to stop the onslaught of demons. So basically, long story short is that you're not technically the Doom guy. You are just kind of a human that was transported into like a different body because of your whole brain being saved. A little bit of a weird storyline kind of going on there, but basically you're just kind of, again, trying to restore the factory and kill demons. That's pretty much it. So the first thing I want to go ahead and talk about is the graphics. How does it look when you're playing this on the HTC Vive? And I gotta say is that it actually looks really good. Basically, all you have to do is to take the version of Doom from 2016, and basically instead of looking at it from a first-person view, you have the whole VR experience now. So every time you turn around, you have nothing but hallways, corridors, and monsters coming at you. The other thing I want to go ahead and mention is the monsters actually look really cool. I loved seeing them in the VR perspectives because they have different heights and stuff like that, and just basically kind of seeing like yourself compared to them. It's kind of menacing at times, especially depending on what creature you want to face. Like those big tall skeleton like creatures, I mean, when I first saw them in the VR, I was like, holy crap, what am I in for? Then of course you got the floating heads, all these different aspects. Again, I like the whole creature design of this from a VR perspective, and it definitely was a nice tone. You still have that tone of Doom, but again, just from a VR experience. And again, it's really hard to explain. You have to actually see it for yourself to kind of get that initial experience. But again, overall, visually, it was definitely nice looking. Now, next up, I want to go ahead and talk about gameplay. And gameplay here is a bit of a hit or miss depending on how you look at it. So before I talk about the issues, let's go ahead and talk about how the controls work. So you have two options playing this on the HTC Vive. Option number one is by using the Vive controllers, and option number two is plugging in a controller like an Xbox 360 and using it like that. Now, if you're using it with the default way with the Vive controllers, basically, of course, you have a gun in your right hand, and then, of course, you have a grenade in your left hand. Unfortunately, there is no control options to kind of switch it around if you're a left-handed user, but maybe in a future update or maybe through the mod community, they could kind of come up with something for that. And basically how the movement works, and again, this is kind of where it's a hit or miss with most people, is that there's no locomotion, meaning that there's no freedom of movement to kind of move around freely and all that fun stuff, which would have been perfect for this game. However, basically it's either one, you have this dash ability, or option number two is that you can basically teleport to a specific area. Now, when you're using the teleport option, it kind of also slows down time around you to kind of, allowing you to dodge. And of course, if you happen to weaken an enemy, you can also teleport on top of the enemy and they basically kind of burst into a bunch of little pieces. And that's pretty much it. Now, if you're using the controller option, you somewhat have the locomotion option, but it kind of defeats the purpose if you're playing this on the Vive, because obviously you want to use the Vive controllers. But here, if you're using the Xbox controllers, basically instead of having a grenade in your left hand, they give you a grenade launcher instead. And the control schemes by default is a bit wonky, so you kind of have to tweak around several settings. But like I said, the controls, again, it's a hit or miss when it comes to a lot of people. For me, it's a bit on the miss side because, again, because it lacks the whole locomotion option, it takes it away. However, the good news is that if you have it on PlayStation and you have like the aim controller, you do have the locomotion option, which is great. But again, if you're on the Vive, you don't really have that option unless if they patch it or someone from the mod community does something about it. Now, the issues that I ran into using the Vive option is the fact that, one, there's a lot of camera tracking issues. And again, I have tested this out, make sure my equipment is good, and I've never had this experience with any other game except for Doom VR, where the tracking will constantly either stop, the game will crash a lot, and there's so many other little nitpick issues where I can't basically recommend it. But like I said, gameplay, when it's working correctly, it's not too bad, it's just lacking certain aspects to make it better. But anyways, let's go ahead and kind of give you the final verdict here. But like I said, even with its current issues at the moment, I do not recommend this game on the HTC Vive. If you have a PlayStation VR, I heard the experience is much better on that one because there's less or no issues on that system, but until the PC version is fixed or is improved, then I could recommend it. But as of right now, I would say hold off, maybe get it on a future sale, or maybe wait till some patches get released and kind of see what the community thinks about it then. But like I said, for this one, again, when things are working correctly, it's not too bad of a game. But when you have constant issues preventing you from enjoying an overall experience, especially when it comes to a beloved game like Doom is one of my personal favorite games of all time, then it just kind of takes you away. But at the moment, I am going to give this game a 6 out of 10 on the Vive version, and until I play it on the PlayStation VR, I hold off my opinions on that one. But again, the community has stated the PlayStation VR version is better, at least until the PC one is fixed. But anyways, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.